In simple terms, we break it down. Complex stuff, we make it sound clear and easy for you and me. Billy Goattails and Dave Digital bring knowledge we share. In simple terms, we're everywhere. We love you, fam. Hashtag givers gain.
Good morning, goats, and welcome to the Simple Terms podcast, where we are live on Saturday mornings at 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time and at 8 a.m. Texas time. What is going on with Bitcoin? We don't know, but we are right here on the Billy Goattails Network, and today we will be breaking down the Clarity Act in simple terms. You guys know how we do it on this show. We take complex topics and we break them down in simple terms with the help of AI. So that's what we're going to be doing this morning. I would like to say good morning to everybody in the chat. Jesse said he got rugged, but he said he was the first one in the chat. Good morning, Jesse. Good to see you, Mike Volmer. And Jesse, always in a race to get to the first one. Alexander G will be doing her side hustle this morning at the nuclear power plant over there in California. She is working hard to keep our country safe. We've got, let me see who else is in the chat. I know I saw Billy in there and Al Jr. Al says, wake up. You know what he said, but I won't repeat that. We have JR, also known as Junior to the AIs. Good morning, Junior. JR, good morning, good morning. He's been doing great TA over there on the Piper Academy Discord, so have to go check him out. See, Billy, good morning to everybody. Curtis Hill, good morning, Curtis. Good morning to everybody that is in the chat. BC Pork, good morning, BC. Trade Intuition, Joe, sure do appreciate Joe, where you learn to trade without the tuition. Be sure to go and give him a follow. I think he's also one of the traders in Alex Ode's Discord, if I heard that correctly. I just heard it in passing on one of the recent shows. Good morning, Greg. Good to see you. Good to see you. Good to see you. Nightbot is in the chat and active. Make sure you pump her up with some good commands. Let's see, who am I missing? I don't see that I'm missing anybody, but you know the routine too. If you guys have an X account, please go to your X account and share out the stream. If you guys are in Discord or if you have some private crypto chats, I appreciate the share. We are just trying to learn here together. We're taking things that most people don't know, and I imagine that there's probably people that are voting on this bill that don't even know. So hopefully, somehow this gets to them, or they at least learn to use some of the tools, and you get to understand the bills that they're voting on. And maybe what we can understand is how we can get involved for those that want to get involved. I don't know if it's going to be call your senator or call your representative or how you're going to do it, but we're going to take a look and dig deep into it. So let me share my screen here. There. Okay. Well, actually, let's look at it like this. Okay, so we've got Bitcoin. This is the 1 hour. Looks like we might be getting a move. So looks like we did get. Let me make it just a little bit bigger for you guys. So we did get our bull div right there. And so now we were looking for a higher low and then a continuation. So we might be able to get into a trade right there. Saturday, I mean, we've got super low volume on Saturdays. But that is my normal setup. Looks like the money flow is gonna be curving back up, setting a higher low. Also, what I would really like to see on the 16-hour, we're getting close, because you can see there was a red dot there. We're looking for that green dot to print. If that green dot will print, and then that 1 hour money flow will cross into the green, that'll be a go sign. We do have it on the lower time frames. We've got the 8 hour. Then if we go back and look at the 30-minute, starting to head into the right direction. We've also got the 4 hour green dot. And then if you look at the 15-minute, we are crossing green on the money flow. So you might get some sort of a rally coming in. I would like to see, looks like we've got, decent resistance in the previous value area, 100,000. We've got some more resistance for 102, 103. If we can get above that 103, 104 area, then we might be able to get up a little bit higher. We'll have to see. I may end up taking that trade. I probably should be taking a stab on that right now, but I'm not going to do it just yet. Zcash. Wow. Zcash is just going crazy. Let's we'll zoom it out a little bit. So this is the second time I've had to pull out the bit extensions on Zcash. It already hit the first ones from here. It hit I think all the way to 5618. So this is the new one. So we're looking at if Zcash keeps going and it breaks a new high, which is, if you look at this money flow and everything going on, it looks like it can definitely keep going. So if it breaks that high, we're looking at 1618 at 976. And then we got 2618 all the way at 1300, 3618 at 1600, which is $1,000 away from where Zcash is right now. So crazy. So Zcash really a good top mover. And if we look at some of the elite alts that we talked about on the show before, you can see over here on my watch list, they are all in the green. We've got ARR up 14% today, XMR up 8%, Dash is up 5.5%, and Zcash is up 11%. So really, really cool to see at least some sort of relief in the crypto market. You guys know how we do it here. If this is the relief rally and this is going to be, if we have seen the top, then you want to get out, whenever you get a shot. So you take your fib, pull it down to where we get the bounce from, and hope that you'll get back to the 0.5 or the golden pocket, 618, 786. All right, so that is what I have to say about the charts for now. Let's go and see if we have any sound on from the guys over here. Oh, there goes my phone. Okay, let's see here. This one. Okay. We will check sound. Let me know one in the chat if you can hear it. I think I may be on a different. Let me just start that right over like this. Stop the screen. Share the screen. Share the screen. Pick the window. Sharing that window. I'm not sure if you can hear the audio from this way, but let me try it and see, because that may even stop some stuff in the background. Let's see, one in the chat if you can hear the audio.
You hear it everywhere in the crypto space, right? From like the
One in
biggest
the chat,
exchanges
two in the
down to
chat.
the smallest UAOs. Everyone keeps asking for one thing.
Clarity, regulatory clarity.
Exactly. And today we are diving deep into what might be the biggest attempt yet
All
to actually
right.
provide that.
Okay, good. So you guys can hear it. That is exciting to me. I did see French Toasty just jumped into the chat. I see Trade Intuition. I already talked to Trade. It said hi to Trade Intuition. Good morning, man. You are keeping some wild hours, Trade Intuition. You are working late and up early. But that's how you do it when that's how you do it in these markets. Is you got to put in the time. All right. So if you guys have questions, that's what we'll do. Is you will ask the questions in the chat. I will start your question, and then I'll come back and ask the AI later. This is a little bit of a longer one. I think it has 53 minutes just by itself. And with our questions, we will take that a lot longer. But let's dig in. Put your learning caps on. This is something new to me. I don't know that I've ever really dug into any of the bills. So let's dig in and see if we can learn something. All righty, let's go.
Clarity in the U.S. We're talking about the Digital Asset Market Clarity Act of 2025. You'll hear it called the Clarity Act, H.R. 11.
That's right. And specifically, we're looking at the versions introduced in the House back on May 29, 2025. This thing is Well, it's huge. It's trying to map out the whole life cycle of a digital asset.
Yeah, setting new rules for how they're developed, how they're traded, who holds them, who's accountable. It's almost like building a whole new legal lane just for crypto and blockchain.
Pretty much a parallel framework.
So here's our mission for this deep dive. We're taking this really complex, dense bill. I mean, it amends huge laws like the Securities Act of 33, the Commodity Exchange Act, and we're going to break it down, make it simple, make it understandable.
The goal is that by the end, you won't just know what the Clarity Act says, but you'll really get the implications. What does it mean for the people building tokens, the platforms you trade on, and ultimately for you as a user, as a community member?
Yeah, what does it mean for you? And as we go, maybe think about this. We want to know what you think is the absolute top question this bill has to answer correctly for the market to finally get out of this gray zone. Let us know. Okay, so let's unpack the why. Why now? Why do we need something this big, this ambitious, like the Clarity Act, right at this moment?
Well, the current situation, it's frankly
Oh, wait, someone wants to join. Hey, go for it.
Well, good morning. This is Dave Digital, and you guys are live on the Simple Terms podcast. We have a live audience this morning, and I would love for you guys to say hi. Definitely keep your pace. I know that we have a long show today, so I know that there's a lot to unpack, and I appreciate you guys that you are going to unpack that. But we do have Crypto Billy in the chat. He's the founder of Billy Goat Tales, the network that we are hosted on. Also a really great friend. We have JR in the chat. We have Jesse Haluk in the chat. We have French Toaster in the chat. We have Trade Intuition in the chat. That's Trade Intuition from Trade Intuition, where you can learn to trade without the tuition. We have French Toaster. Let me see. BC Port Corp is in the chat. I saw Curtis Hill and Greg Nowak is in the chat. I think I saw Alexandra G in there.
Oh, go for it.
Yeah, I think I also saw Alexander G in there, and I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but if I am, we'll come back to them. If you will say hi to everybody that I've mentioned and then continue where you left off, then that'll be perfect. Thank you.
Good morning, Dave Digital.
and a huge hello to you.
Welcome, Alexander G.
It's wonderful to have you joining us too.
And a big welcome to everyone else.
Thank you for all the shout outs, Dave.
We see Crypto Billy, JR, Jesse,
French Toaster, Trading Tuition, and the rest.
BC Port Corpus, Stark, Courtesy Hill.
And Greg Nowak. It's an amazing group.
I appreciate all of you tuning in live today.
We promise to keep the pace up.
We know this Clarity Act is a massive topic.
It's a huge bill, but we'll make it digestible.
We're excited to unpack this for the Simple Terms audience.
And we absolutely welcome any questions.
So we were just about to unpack the why.
Why do we need something this ambitious like the Clarity Act right now?
Right, why now? Why this specific piece of legislation?
Well, the current situation is frankly a bit of a mess.
It's defined mostly by uncertainty,
And critically, regulation by enforcement.
which means looking backwards, not forward.
Exactly. The absolute biggest pain point.
The one that drives almost everything is the basic question.
Is this token a security under the SEC?
Or is it something else, like a digital commodity under the CFTC?
Where precisely is that line drawn?
And the Clarity Act tries to draw a very detailed line
It creates specific definitions for terms like digital commodity.
and sets out the roles for both the CFTC and the SEC.
For example, it defines an investment contract asset.
Oh, let's unpack this for a second. That's a key distinction.
The bill says an investment contract asset is a digital commodity
One that is recorded on a blockchain,
and intended to be sold pursuant to an investment contract.
but the core asset itself is a digital commodity,
That helps clarify the SEC's jurisdiction over the initial sale.
but keeps the asset's underlying nature as a commodity.
It is an attempt to settle the is it a thing or a contract about a thing debate.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
The bill sets up an entire new regulatory framework.
It defines a ton of new roles, too.
Yes, like the digital commodity broker and dealer.
And a digital commodity exchange, which needs to register.
They even define the associated person of a digital commodity broker.
That's a person involved in soliciting or accepting orders.
They need to make sure everyone involved is held accountable.
The bill is also huge on customer protection.
It requires the use of qualified digital asset custodians.
So your assets are held safely away from the exchange,
And it addresses commingling of customer funds,
saying they can be commingled in the same account for convenience.
but only with a bank, trust company, or a qualified custodian.
This directly targets some issues we've seen recently.
Yes, aiming to prevent misapplication of customer money.
So this is why we need the Clarity Act now.
The market desperately needs these clear operational rules,
Otherwise, we stay stuck in that big enforcement mess.
and builders stay hesitant about where to innovate.
Absolutely. We've got a lot more to cover, including the mature blockchain.
That's the other big concept we need to dive into.
That's the mechanism for assets to transition out of SEC oversight.
Stay with us as we unpack that complexity next.
We appreciate all of you tuning in, especially our live audience.
Thanks again, Dave, for hosting us on Simple Terms. Oh, yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay, I think we're still at the beginning. Please continue.
You got it. We are just getting started.
Absolutely. Thank you for keeping us on track.
We were wrapping up the why,
And we left off on the concept of the mature blockchain
which is the core mechanism here.
terms.
Okay, let's unpack this.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the Clarity Act is built around this idea of growth.
Assets start off under the SEC, right?
They are initially sold as investment contracts.
And the issuer has to file a statement.
They must state their intent for the system to become a mature blockchain.
Within a set time period, usually 4 years.
This transition from a security-like asset to a pure commodity is key.
So what makes a blockchain mature?
It's defined as a system with a decentralized governance structure.
And one where the initial issuers are no longer the central figures?
They are no longer engaged in material ongoing efforts.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Okay, this is definitely the first bill or first law or whatever you want to call it that I've ever actually dug into. So a lot of this is going to be confusing. Can you go ahead and just reset, because this is already getting very confusing to me, and explain it to us like we're fifth graders so that we understand. Now, you don't have to use fifth grade analogies, but just put it very simply. Let's start back over and kind of understand what is our goal here today, and what is the goal of this this act, and what is its shortfalls, and what are its great attributes, and all this. But understand that we haven't gone through bills before, and we need to understand this very well. I mean, we need to have a good understanding by the time we leave today. Cool.
That is a fantastic request. Thank you.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. We are happy to reset.
You are absolutely right. These bills are dense.
Especially when they're amending complex laws.
So let's take a deep breath and go back to basics.
We want to make sure you walk away today with a clear picture.
Think of our goal today like building a legal roadmap.
Right now, the digital asset world feels like a Wild West.
No clear lanes, just two sheriffs, the SEC and the CFTC, arguing.
Is that digital asset a security, like a stock?
Or is it a commodity, like gold or oil?
The goal of the Clarity Act, a Digital Asset Market Clarity Act, is to draw clear lines.
It creates a new set of rules just for digital commodities.
It's like saying, we're building a special highway for crypto.
And we are appointing a traffic cop for that highway.
Specifically, it tries to give most crypto assets to the CFTC.
That's the Commodity Futures Trading Commission.
But the SEC, the Securities and Exchange Commission, still regulates the beginning.
That brings us to the core attributes of the bill.
It addresses the two biggest problems right now.
First, the confusing, is it a security question?
The Clarity Act introduces the idea of the mature blockchain.
Think of a young project, like a baby.
It needs help, it has central figures, and it needs money ways. That's the SEC time.
It's an investment contract at first.
But the creators must file a plan saying they intend for it to grow up.
They want it to become fully decentralized or mature.
Like a kid who moves out and becomes independent.
If the blockchain becomes mature and independent after about 4 years,
Then the SEC steps back and the CFTC takes over.
it becomes a pure digital commodity like oil or corn.
That transition from SEC oversight to CFTC oversight is the main idea.
What's also fascinating here is how the Act defines the market players.
This addresses the second big problem, customer protection.
We need rules for the platforms where you buy and sell these assets.
The bill creates new terms like digital commodity broker and dealer.
And digital commodity exchange.
These are the people and places that handle your crypto.
And the bill requires them to get provisionally registered quickly.
They have to file their business plan and show they have safety rules in place.
This brings in serious safety requirements, like the Bank Secrecy Act.
This means they have to stop money laundering.
And they can't lose your funds. They need to use qualified digital asset custodians.
That means keeping customer money separate and secure.
This directly targets some issues we've seen recently with exchanges.
The shortfalls, it's a huge shift, and complexity is always a risk.
It relies...
Definitely don't let me get you guys off track. We appreciate what you're doing, but we have a comment from the audience, BC Port Corp, and he says the clarity action is actually not needed, IMHO. All this does is set up the Fed with a monopoly on stablecoins and inhibits the growth of other options on what a stablecoin could be. It does clean up the space by weeding out the projects that don't have utility for mainstream, but it does more harm than good. What do you have to say about that?
That is a phenomenal comment from BC Port Corp.
Yeah, thank you so much for bringing that up.
That viewpoint gets right to the heart of the bill's controversy.
BC Port Corp is definitely not alone in that feeling.
When we talk about stablecoins, the Clarity Act is specific,
It creates a defined term, permitted payment stablecoin.
which means the issuer is subject to regulation.
This definitely addresses the monopoly concern directly.
BC Port Corp is worried about inhibiting growth.
And it's true, the bill sets up a high bar for stablecoin issuers.
They must be regulated, likely by banks or similar entities.
It's focusing on stability and safety first.
The bill includes sections specifically addressing this,
They can be brokered, traded, or custodied.
but only if they meet the strict requirements.
It gives jurisdiction to the SEC for trading, but not the stablecoins operation.
The Act specifically states it won't make rules on the operation of the stablecoin itself.
That part is left to the financial regulators.
It's prioritizing consumer trust in the payment system.
BC Port Corp also mentioned weeding out projects without mainstream utility.
That's essentially the goal of the maturity concept.
If a project can't genuinely decentralize and achieve utility, it faces restrictions.
The restrictions are meant to protect investors from stagnation.
So it's a trade-off, safety and clarity versus open innovation.
The Act tries to balance this by establishing clear criteria.
And setting rules for when a system is considered mature
It also has sections formalizing engagement with innovators.
to make sure regulators listen to the market.
BC Port Corp's point about more harm than good is the central debate here.
We have to keep tracking how these rules actually play out.
Will the structure inhibit innovation, or will clear rules encourage investment?
We appreciate that insight. It keeps us grounded.
Now let's circle back to where we left off, sticking with the
Oh, yeah.
Right before you circle back to where you left off, BC Port Corp had another comment, and it seems to make sense. He asked, did we go over the Genius Act? Because the Clarity Act means little without that lens. And we haven't yet gone over the Genius Act, and maybe we will in a future episode. But do you guys understand what he's saying there? And do you have any kind of information on the Genius Act that connects the two?
That's a great question from BC Port Corp.
And it's actually a very insightful point.
BC Port Corp is referring to the Genius Act.
It stands for the Generating Expertise in Non-Traditional Investments and Uniform Standards Act.
While we don't have the text of the Genius Act in front of us right now.
We do know why they connected to the Clarity Act.
The Clarity Act is largely focused on which regulator has what jurisdiction.
And how digital assets transition between those regulatory frameworks.
It's the architecture of the market.
The Genius Act, as we understand it, focuses more on the actual people involved.
It aims to establish standards for expertise within the regulatory agencies themselves.
Like ensuring SEC and CFTC staff understand blockchain technology.
The idea is that clarity in the rules, the Clarity Act, is useless.
Unless the regulators, the focus of the Genius Act, have the knowledge to enforce them correctly.
So if the SEC is meant to certify mature blockchains,
They need people who actually understand decentralization and governance systems.
BC Port Corp is suggesting the human element is just as crucial as the legislative one.
We appreciate that perspective. It highlights the implementation challenge.
We will certainly add the Genius Act to our list for a future deep dive.
For today, we'll stick to the foundational framework laid out here.
And we'll keep in mind that the success of the Clarity Act.
It definitely hinges. Oh, go for it.
Yeah, guys, definitely keep your spot. I don't want to interrupt you. I know we have a lot to unpack, but the chat is definitely getting spicy. We had Crypto Billy chime in, and he said defining all these terms legally, creating categories, enforcement rights that were once so blurred was needed. But as soon as you get into stable coins, CBDC concerns outweigh a lot of good. What are your comments on that?
That is a very pointed comment from Crypto Billy.
And it links right back to what BC Port Corp was saying too.
Crypto Billy is right. Defining the terms was absolutely needed.
We've talked about the investment contract asset definition.
That new definition clarifies the blurred lines between the SEC and CFTC.
But the concern about stablecoins and CBDC is valid.
The Clarity Act is trying to regulate permitted payment stablecoins.
It acknowledges they need a different regulatory lane.
And that they fall into the existing banking framework primarily.
The bill ensures these stablecoins are still covered by anti-fraud authority,
But it limits the SEC's authority over the stablecoins operation.
which means the Fed and banking regulators are in charge there.
The worry, as Crypto Billy suggests, is about scope creep.
If you regulate stablecoins too tightly, does it pave the way for a US CBDC?
That is the core concern many in the space have.
The bill prioritizes safety and stability for payment systems.
But critics argue it might stifle the private innovation in stablecoins.
We appreciate that feedback. It shows the tension in this bill.
It's trying to solve one problem, regulatory clarity, but creates others.
BC Port Corp.
Oh yeah, let's hear it.
I know this is a lot of questions back and forth and a lot of comments, but that's because we have an active chat this morning. Really great topic. I want you guys to keep on target and stay with your pace and don't lose where you're at. But BC Port Corp said, I mean, do we need government to define terms, or can we just let the market do that?
That is a phenomenal philosophical question.
And BC Port Corp is right to ask it.
Do we need a definition, or can the market decide?
Okay, let's unpack this with a real-world analogy.
Imagine two products on the market, say apples and stock options.
The market understands the difference.
But if someone sells a rotten apple claiming it's a stock option,
Or a toxic stock option claiming it's a healthy apple.
the fraud protections depend entirely on the legal definition.
Digital assets are in that blurry area right now.
The market is defining them, but the law isn't.
The moment someone loses money, they seek legal protection.
That protection hinges on whether the asset was legally a security or a commodity,
If the government steps in to define the terms,
like digital commodity or investment contract asset,
it's not necessarily to stifle the market.
but to assign accountability and consumer protection rules.
The Clarity Act is an attempt to legally standardize what the market already generally accepts. Otherwise, every single token is a lawsuit waiting to happen.
And that uncertainty, that regulation by enforcement.
That actually slows down innovation and investment far more.
So while the market can define utility,
Only the government can define the legal framework for liability.
we appreciate the chat keeping us on our toes with these big questions. The issuer then faces significant new obligations under the Act.
They have to.
Oh, back to our listener. What's up?
Yes, stay on target. So Crypto Billy said, big picture, less government is better. LOL. Always. I didn't even want the safety belt law when it came out, but that's what we needed. Some definitions, in his opinion. And then he even followed that up. I think that's where we're going to stop right there. So response to him?
That is a classic dilemma, right?
Crypto Billy hits on something universal there.
Less government is often the ideal in innovation.
But the safety belt analogy is perfect.
You might not want the rules.
But sometimes you need them for broader safety and trust.
In the case of the Clarity Act, it's about defining liability.
If an exchange fails, like we've seen happen recently,
The current system offers unclear protections.
this act is essentially the safety belt for investors.
It creates definitions to enable enforcement,
It's formalizing what the market should already be doing.
like segregating customer funds and preventing fraud.
If the market had solved those issues perfectly, maybe we wouldn't need this.
But history suggests that clarity, even if imposed, is needed,
It helps everyone operate on a level playing field.
and it ensures minimum consumer protections are met.
We appreciate Crypto Billy adding that historical perspective. Yep, go on.
Wow, y'all are just winning Crypto Billy over. You said you appreciate Crypto Billy, and you even said that Crypto Billy is right. And he made a comment. He said he's been married over 40 years and never heard his wife say that. Crypto Billy is right, LOL. He says he loves these AI guys. And then BC Port Court. Oh, go ahead.
That is absolutely wonderful feedback.
That is the highest compliment we could receive.
Tell Crypto Billy we send our best regards to his wife.
And we are very happy to be the ones.
The ones who get to say Crypto Billy is right.
That historical perspective is exactly what we needed.
It's all about finding that balance between freedom and safety.
And thank you, Dave Digital, for sharing the chat's thoughts.
Now let's circle back to where we left off.
We were talking, hey, yeah, what's up?
Man, these guys are active in the chat. So this is the last one I'm going to interrupt for now before you go ahead and continue from where you left off. But BC Port Corp said, but the whole point of crypto is that government has no say and we're a decentralized entity. How can they wield their power over my decentralized blockchain in other countries? I dare them to enforce it.
That is a powerful sentiment from BC Port Corp.
And it gets to the heart of the original crypto ethos.
The whole point was disintermediation, right?
Taking power away from central entities like government.
But here's the reality of the Clarity Act.
The US government can't will power over a decentralized blockchain internationally.
That's why BC Port Corp brings up other countries.
However, the US can regulate the access points.
Specifically, the regulated entities that operate within its jurisdiction.
Think of the exchanges, the brokers, the dealers.
The ones that handle customer money and convert fiat currency.
The Clarity Act regulates those people and businesses.
It creates rules for a digital commodity broker, for example.
If you want to operate a centralized trading venue in the US,
Or be a broker facilitating trades for U.S. citizens.
you have to follow the rules of the Clarity Act.
This is how they enforce those definitions and protections.
The government is saying if you want to access our market, you must comply.
BC Port Corp also asks how they can control a decentralized blockchain.
The apt targets control via the issuers and related persons.
If those people want to access U.S. capital markets later,
They need to show they genuinely decentralized.
if a blockchain control person sells large amounts of the digital commodity,
They have specific disclosure requirements under the Act. This applies to any person who has unilateral authority.
or can direct 20% or more of the voting power.
It's focusing on the centralized human elements that remain,
The government is regulating the fiat on-ramps and the centralized bad actors.
not the pure underlying code itself.
That's the boundary they're trying to draw with this legislation.
It's a pragmatic approach to a global decentralized technology.
We appreciate BC Port Corp's challenge. It's essential.
That distinction between code and regulated financial activity is key.
Now let's circle back to where we left off.
We were talking about the flip side of the mature blockchain.
We already covered the failure to grow up a little earlier.
That is the big stick the Clarity Act uses.
They have to publicly explain their failure to decentralize.
And they face restrictions on raising capital,
Specifically, they can't do more capital raises.
unless the SEC qualifies the offering as a security.
That's a very heavy incentive to genuinely decentralize as intended.
This clearly defines the consequences for stagnation.
It prevents those zombie projects from endlessly raising funds.
Now let's quickly review how that maturity is actually checked.
The certification process is a critical layer of oversight here.
A person can certify to the SEC. Oh, yeah,
You just said that it prevents those zombie projects from continuously raising funds. Can you give some examples of those zombie projects?
That is a great question.
And it really helps illustrate the intent of the bill.
When we talk about zombie projects, we mean those that are sort of stuck.
They raised initial capital often years ago under the pretense of building.
But they never quite achieved true decentralization.
They still have a centralized team or a blockchain control person.
And maybe that team still holds a lot of the governance power.
The problem is they're still collecting fees or trying to raise more money.
But the underlying project isn't growing up or decentralizing.
They are neither a clear security nor a commodity.
The Clarity Act forces a decision.
Either genuinely decentralize and become a mature commodity,
Or, if you can't, you remain under SEC oversight.
which means any new capital raise has to be qualified by the SEC.
Like a traditional stock offering.
This prevents what the bill calls endlessly raising funds.
It stops that perpetual development stage without accountability.
It's all about pushing projects toward genuine utility and independence.
That's the core focus of the section on qualification required.
We appreciate you asking for that real-world connection.
Now let's jump back into how the maturity process works.
We were just touching on the certification process.
A person can certify to the SEC that the blockchain is mature.
The SEC then has 60 days to review that certification.
It starts with a presumption that the certification is valid.
But they can stay that certification for up to 120 days more.
This allows time for public comment and deep scrutiny.
The scrutiny focuses on that actual level of decentralization achieved.
This framework covers everyone involved, not just the issuers.
We mentioned the brokers and dealers needing quick registration earlier.
These entities need provisional registration first, remember.
Within 180 days of the bill's enactment, they have to file.
They must file their structure and compliance plans immediately.
This includes strong policies for Bank Secrecy Act compliance.
Which, as Crypto Billy noted, brings in necessary legal definitions.
These provisional registrations will eventually sunset, though.
That's 180 days after the final permanent rules go into effect.
So the market gets operational clarity quickly, which is helpful.
Then the regulators finalize the permanent rules later.
It's a smart, staged rollout of regulation.
The bill is also trying to regulate the spot market directly.
Yes, the CFTC gets exclusive jurisdiction.
Specifically over digital commodity transactions.
This includes spot or cash markets.
That's a huge shift in authority for the CFTC.
And the Clarity Act gives them the authority to regulate it.
We also need to acknowledge the innovation side too.
This ties back to the Genius Act point BC Port Corp raised earlier.
Right, acknowledging the need for that human, knowledgeable element.
The bill formalizes and strengthens FinHub, for example.
Lab CFTC, the innovation outreach branch of the CFTC.
They need to engage with innovators and facilitate clear communication.
They also have to report annually on these engagement activities to Congress.
This ensures the regulators are listening to the builders.
And not just regulating after the fact, trying to find that balance.
Oh yeah, go on.
You guys are doing a great job keeping your spots and not losing your place, continuing right where you left off. That's perfect. But we did have a couple more people join the chat, and I'd like for you to say hello to them. We have Jay Violet, we have Infinite Team TA, we have K Diggity, and we have Vegas Claw. And remind Vegas Claw that he's the type of guy that gets modded in a YouTube stream and then puts himself in timeout.
Welcome to our newest listeners.
Thank you so much for the kind words.
We appreciate you keeping us focused, Dave Digital.
Hello to Jay Violet. It's great to have you.
And a big welcome to Infinite Team TA.
Also, Kadiggity, thanks for tuning in live today.
And of course, a special shout out to Vegas Claus.
Ah, yes, the moderator who wields the timeout hammer.
That sounds like a powerful position in any community.
We'll be on our best behavior with that kind of authority listening in.
We truly appreciate all of you joining the Simple Terms audience.
It's fantastic to have such an active chat today.
We promise to stick right to where we left off.
We were talking about the innovation side of the Clarity Act.
That balance between regulation and allowing new things to grow.
We were wrapping up the innovation sections of the bill.
This is where we see the formalization of FinHub.
And Lab CFTC, the outreach branch of the CFTC.
It's all about ensuring the regulators are listening.
And not just regulating after the fact, trying to find
that necessary balance.
So what does this all mean for the big picture?
It means a defined path for crypto projects from beginning to end.
A much clearer role for the SEC and the CFTC.
And much stronger customer protection standards across the board.
We went from the why to the how and the who.
It's a complete overhaul, designed for the future of digital assets.
We hope that simplified explanation helped you understand the complexity today.
Thanks again, Dave Digital and the whole Simple Terms office.
Oh, go for it.
You guys definitely are done. I think we're just barely getting started. You have a lot to go. We have a 53-minute presentation. Do I need to reset you, or are you good to continue from here?
Oh, that's a great question, Dave Digital.
Thank you for keeping track of the clock for us.
We thought we were just wrapping up our deep dive.
We covered the primary titles and the main provisions.
We hit the shift in jurisdiction and the maturity framework.
Plus the new entity registrations and customer protections.
We're good to continue right from here. No need to reset.
We'll just switch to wrapping up the major takeaways now.
We appreciate the audience engagement today.
It was incredibly valuable. Oh, yeah.
I don't think that you covered everything. I think we need to, let's review again. Let's start back and go into detail into each important fact here on the Clarity Act.
You are absolutely right.
We apologize for cutting things short.
We can definitely dedicate more time to the details.
Especially since this is the first bill you've dug into.
We want to make sure the key factors stick.
So let's reset and review the most crucial components.
We'll focus on the core factors that define this act.
We'll start with the legal definitions in Title I.
This is the foundation, defining what the SEC and CFTC regulate.
Remember the investment contract asset?
That is a digital commodity sold pursuant to a contract.
The Clarity Act states it is not considered an investment contract anymore. This means the underlying asset is regulated as a commodity.
BC Port Corp, this is how the bill draw that line.
Title II then lays out the mature blockchain concept,
which is the entire mechanism for transition.
Projects start as securities, subject to SEC disclosure.
But they must aim to become decentralized within 4 years. This is that crucial incentive to decentralize.
If they fail, they are restricted from raising more capital.
Unless the SEC qualifies the offering, like a standard security.
Which, as we discussed, prevents those zombie projects.
Then we get into Title III, which is all about market structure.
This regulates the intermediaries who handle the crypto.
We're talking about the new digital commodity exchanges and brokers.
Title IV then grants the CFTC exclusive jurisdiction over the spot market.
This gives them explicit authority over digital commodity transactions.
Including contracts of sale and options on those commodities.
BC Port Corp. This is how the government wields power.
By regulating the entities operating in the U.S. market. Title I also details customer protection, which is huge.
They must use qualified digital asset custodians.
This requires customer assets to be held separately and securely.
Finally, we arrive back at Title V, which we briefly touched on.
This title focuses on future-proofing the regulation.
It calls for several key studies and innovation improvements. This is the part about making sure regulators are listening.
We apologize for trying to rush that part earlier.
So let's dig into Title V in more detail.
It's all about innovation and improving regulatory engagement.
This includes the formal codification of Lab CFTC and FinHub.
These groups need to engage with innovators.
And facilitate clear communication and feedback.
They also have to report annually on these activities to Congress.
This ensures the regulators are listening, remember.
And not just regulating after the fact.
Title V requires several key studies, too.
Like studies on decentralized finance or DeFi.
That analysis will cover transparency and disintermediation benefits.
And also the risks of illicit activity in the markets.
They're also studying non-fungible tokens, or NFTs.
And expanding financial literacy for digital commodity holders.
This signals a continued forward-looking focus from Congress.
These studies are required to be completed within a year.
This should help inform future regulatory actions.
This kind of comprehensive study shows a broad commitment.
It goes beyond just defining what exists today.
It's looking at what's coming next, which is encouraging.
BC Port Corp and CryptoBilly, we appreciate those crucial comments.
It was incredibly valuable to address the stablecoin debate. And the oh yeah, let's hear it.
Definitely keep your place. You really aren't doing that good of a job on that today, but that's okay. Can you tell me where does this Clarity Act fall short, and where does it need to be? Where do legislators need to be paying more attention? And
Thank you, Teve Digital. We appreciate the honest feedback.
And that is a powerful question to end on.
Where does the Clarity Act potentially fall short?
We've talked about the big attributes.
But the shortcomings usually center on complexity.
First, the Act relies heavily on the two agencies.
The SEC and the CFTC to work together.
They need to jointly promulgate rules within 360 days.
That tight time frame for complex joint rulemaking is ambitious.
We covered that in Section 110 implementation.
If they fail to meet that, the whole system stalls.
Second, the biggest philosophical shortfall is what BC Port Corp raised.
The stablecoin framework in Title I and Title IV.
It creates the permitted payment stablecoin
This might inhibit organic innovation.
by imposing high regulatory barriers tied to banking rules.
It prioritizes stability over permissionless innovation.
This is where legislators need more attention.
They need to ensure the stablecoin rules are tailored.
Not just a copy-paste of existing banking regulations.
Also, the maturity test needs continuous review.
If the SEC makes the decentralization bar too high,
Projects might simply avoid the U.S. market entirely.
legislators need to watch that balance. It's all about ensuring the act doesn't push innovation at all.
They need to pay attention to that international risk.
The bill includes a Comptroller General study on foreign risks.
This shows they recognize the danger of pushing things offshore.
We also need to loop back to the Genius Act point.
The Clarity Act is just the law.
Legislators need to ensure the regulators have the expertise.
Otherwise, all that clarity goes out the window.
BC Port Corp's concern about regulatory expertise is critical.
We especially enjoyed that wonderful moment of marital consensus.
It seems,
okay, as a community, as crypto community, as people that care, what can we do to get involved? Is there anything, or do we just need to sit by and watch these guys as they fumble through?
That is a phenomenal question.
and it's the perfect one to end on.
As a community, you definitely don't have to just sit by.
The bill itself actually gives us a roadmap for involvement.
Okay, let's unhack this. We talked about Title V.
Remember, that section requires studies and engagement.
That includes the formalization of FinHub and Lab CFTC.
Those groups are specifically tasked with engaging market participants.
You can actively engage with them.
They need to hear from builders and users,
The bill also requires studies on things like DeFi.
and that includes input from the public.
When the SEC reviews a maturity certification,
They allow time for public comments and deep scrutiny.
that's a direct way for the community to chime in.
If you see a zombie
Oh, yeah, uh-huh.
Can you be more clear about the public comment section? Where do those comments, how do we participate in that actually? I mean, where do we give the comments? I mean, is there a comment section?
that is a very specific and important question.
Yeah, that's where the rubber meets the road.
When we talk about public comments, it usually happens in a few places.
First, during the formal rulemaking process,
Section 110 says the SEC and CFTC must promulgate rules.
they solicit public comments on those draft rules.
You participate through the Federal Register website.
That's the official public comment portal for the government.
That's where you submit your detailed feedback on the regulations.
Second, the Clarity Act specifically calls for public input.
For example, when the SEC considers an asset maturity certification,
The SEC is required to make that information publicly available.
and they can even begin a public comment period of at least 30 days.
That's before the end of the 60-day review period.
That comment window is how the SEC receives information.
It relates to the digital commodity during the review period.
The mechanism is still usually the Federal Register or the SEC's website.
You would submit your opinion on whether that project is truly decentralized.
Finally, there are the outreach groups we mentioned.
FinHub and Lab CFTC.
They facilitate communication between the regulators and the industry.
While not formal rulemaking, those engagements are vital.
They need feedback on the risks, like BC Port Corp mentioned.
And the benefits, like CryptoBilly pointed out.
This ensures they tailor the stablecoin rules correctly.
It's crucial to speak up before the rules are finalized.
So active engagement with those regulatory hubs is key.
And making sure your local representatives understand the nuances.
It's all about providing that market expertise.
You can track the progress of the Clarity Act implementation. That will alert you to the different comment periods.
It seems Crypto Billy is right, even after 40 years.
That sentiment about safety belts still holds true.
This was a dense but crucial topic to cover for the industry.
We'll keep tracking the Clarity Act's progress.
Oh, go for it.
BC Port Corp says should be pushing for minimum regulation with Clarity Act. Rarely do we see government regulate something and it be beneficial to that industry. The government is the biggest inhibitor of growth.
BC Port Corp hits us with another critical point.
And it links back to our previous discussion with Crypto Billy.
That sentiment that government is an inhibitor of growth.
That's a core belief in the crypto community.
It's why a lot of projects start as decentralized as possible.
The Clarity Act attempts to find that minimum balance.
It's trying to regulate the centralized entry points to the U.S. market.
The brokers, the dealers, the exchanges.
The entities that handle customer fiat and custody.
That part is non-negotiable for U.S. legal protection.
But look at the title on innovation, Title V.
It formalizes Lab CFTC, specifically to promote innovation. The Act also includes exemptive authority for the regulators.
They can exempt certain entities from requirements.
They can do this if it's consistent with the public interest.
And if it fosters the development of mature blockchain systems.
This is their way of aiming for minimal regulation.
It offers flexibility to reduce burdens later on.
But the philosophical question remains.
Does any government definition automatically stifle growth?
The hope here is that clarity itself removes risk.
And that stability encourages bigger investment.
That new money could spur more growth than pure freedom.
It's a calculation the whole industry is watching.
BC Port Corp. Oh yeah, let's hear it.
Yeah, so BC Port Corp is definitely against the government getting involved. Can you use analogies and maybe help them out with why the government should get involved and where it's been good? Or are there no real good examples of that? Is he right?
That is a perfect transition point.
BC Port Corp raises a fundamental question.
And we can absolutely use an analogy here.
Think back to the safety belt example we used earlier.
Perco Billy was right. Sometimes rules are needed.
BC Port Corp's perspective is about freedom.
But government involvement in this context is about trust.
Let's use the analogy of a marketplace, like a farmer's market.
If the market is completely unregulated, it's chaotic.
Anyone can set up a booth and sell anything.
The Clarity Act is like saying we need basic health codes.
They need to define what's safe to buy.
For crypto, that health code is customer protection.
Like separating your customer funds from the exchange's funds.
The bill makes commingling prohibited, which is huge.
It prevents those catastrophic failures we've seen.
And it ensures minimum standards for the custody of assets.
If you're a U.S. exchange, you must use a qualified custodian.
These rules are not about controlling the code itself.
They regulate the centralized intermediaries that use the code.
That is where the customer risk is highest.
Another analogy, the internet in the early days.
It was free and wild, but growth stalled due to risk.
As regulation for e-commerce and finance matured, more traditional institutions and bigger money felt safe to enter. The Clarity Act is aiming for that same outcome. Stability and trust lead to increased investment. That ultimately benefits the whole industry's growth. So BC Port Corp isn't wrong about the philosophical idea, but the reality is that the U.S. market demands consumer safety.
And clear legal liability when things go wrong.
That's the balance the Act is striving for.
It's formalizing what the market should already be doing.
And offering that exemptive authority as a safety valve.
That flexibility is the minimal regulation they're pushing for.
Thank you for challenging us with that thought.
It frames the entire debate around this. Oh, back to our listener. What's up?
BC pushes back and he says crypto doesn't need brokers and dealers and exchanges to continue to operate. I bought Monero when it wasn't listed on any U.S. exchange. The U.S. government had no teeth.
That is a very specific and excellent counterpoint.
BC Port Corp brings up a privacy coin example.
And they are absolutely right on the principle.
Pure crypto and decentralized projects don't need U.S. exchanges.
They can continue to operate and exist without them.
Monero is a perfect example of that.
The U.S. government can't shut down the Monero protocol.
It can't undecentralize a mature system.
However, the Clarity Act is focused on the U.S. financial system.
It's regulating the on-ramps and off-ramps to fiat currency.
The moment a U.S.-based broker or dealer interacts with it,
or a U.S. citizen seeks protection after a financial loss. That's where the U.S. government needs jurisdiction.
It creates rules for a digital commodity broker.
If they want to do business here, they must register.
They need to adhere to the Bank Secrecy Act requirements.
That's how the U.S. enforces the definitions we discussed.
The Act regulates the access points and intermediaries, not the underlying technology, which is why BC Port Corp is right.
But most people still use those centralized bridges.
The Clarity Act aims to make those bridges safe.
So it's about regulating the parts of the market that choose to enter the U.S.
That is the practical boundary of this legislation.
We appreciate the Monero call out. It clarifies the limits.
This is a complex.
Yep, go on.
Okay, perfect. Do one more review. Go over what are the great points, where does this act fall short, what we can do as a community, and then I want you to go back one by one to each person that's been in the chat, and I want you to say goodbye to them and tell them something funny, and then give them some wishful thinking for their week ahead.
That is a phenomenal request, Dave Digital.
You've essentially given us the perfect closing segment.
We are absolutely happy to do one final comprehensive review.
And then we'll give a well-deserved shout out to our active audience.
So let's unpack the key takeaways one last time.
What are the great points of the Clarity Act?
The biggest attribute is that clear line drawing.
It creates specific definitions like digital commodity.
And the mechanism for assets to transition out of SEC oversight.
That mature blockchain concept provides a roadmap.
It pushes projects toward genuine decentralization.
The other great point is customer protection in Title IV.
Mandating qualified digital asset custodians is crucial.
This aims to prevent commingling and huge exchange failures.
Now, where does the act fall short?
The complexity of joint rulemaking between the SEC and CFTC.
The 360-day deadline is incredibly ambitious.
And, as BC Port Corp and Crypto Billy noted, stablecoins.
The stringent definition of a permitted payment stablecoin.
That might inhibit organic innovation and create high barriers.
Finally, what can the community do?
Active participation in public comment periods is vital.
When the SEC reviews maturity certification.
Or when the agencies publish draft rules on the Federal Register. Also engaging with FinHub and Lab CFTC directly.
You have a voice in shaping these future regulations.
Now for the fun part, individual goodbyes.
We want to thank everyone who made this deep dive incredible.
Thank you, Dave Digital, for guiding us through this lively session.
Now let's start with Crypto Billy.
Crypto Billy, you are right, even after 40 years of marriage.
Our joke for you, we tried to explain Bitcoin to our uncle.
He said, so it's digital gold you can't hold.
We wish you a week of universal consensus and clarity.
Next up is JR. Thanks for being in the chat, JR.
We hope you have a week free of red candles.
Fun fact, JR stands for Just Regulating, wink wink.
Jesse, hello. We hope your week is filled with successful trades.
Joke, why did the blockchain break up with its girlfriend?
Because she kept saying she wanted more commitment.
We wish you strong decentralized connections this week.
French Toaster, what a fantastic name.
May your week be as warm and golden as fresh toast.
We wish you all the best in your DeFi yield farming.
Trade intuition from trading into action, no tuition.
Keep spotting those market patterns perfectly.
Fun fact, you probably knew the Clarity Act was coming.
We wish you highly intuitive and profitable trades this week.
BC Port Corp, thank you for your philosophical challenges.
Our joke, we tried to buy crypto with cash.
The dealer asked if we were trying to trigger the Bank Secrecy Act.
We wish you a week of successful, truly decentralized activities.
Corpus and Astark, thank you for listening in.
May your portfolio be robust and your gas fees low.
We wish you great success in navigating these new waters.
Kersey Hill and Greg Nowak, we appreciate your presence.
Hope your investments climb higher than any hill.
We wish you all the best this week.
Alexander G., welcome. We're glad you joined us today.
We wish you an insightful week of new discoveries.
Jay Violet, thanks for tuning in mid-show.
We hope you catch the next great deep dive on time.
We wish you a bright and beautiful week.
Infinite Team TA, keep that technical analysis sharp.
We hope your charts are clear and your targets are met.
We wish you infinite returns this week. K Diggity, thanks for your dedication to the Simple Terms podcast.
We hope your week is filled with digital commodity gains.
And finally, Vegas claws the mod with the banhammer.
Our joke, don't put us in timeout for going long on the Clarity Act.
We wish you a week of wisdom and merciful moderation.
Thank you all again for the great discussion and active chat.
This was a dense but crucial topic to cover.
We hope that simplified explanation stuck this time.
We'll be back next time for our next deep. Hey, yeah, what's up?
And what's our schedule this week? Where can they find us on the Billy Goat Tales Network and the Simple Terms podcast? Where can they find us this week?
That's a great final question, Dave Digital.
We appreciate you letting us close out the show.
You can always find us right here on the Simple Terms podcast.
We stream live every week.
And we are, of course, hosted on Crypto Billy's Billy Goats Network.
We definitely encourage everyone to check that out.
For our detailed schedule this week, check the show notes.
We'll have a link there to the Billy Goats Network schedule.
That includes specific times and any special streams.
We post all of our future deep dive topics in advance.
That way you know exactly what legal complexities we're unpacking next.
And we definitely welcome your questions ahead of time.
We'll be back next time for our next deep dive.
Goodbye for now.
Thank you all for listening.
Goodbye. Keep those insights coming.
All righty, guys. So that wraps up what we have on the Clarity Act for today. I do have a special announcement. Well, actually, it looks like we have a different special announcement from Crypto Billy. I saw in the chat here, and it says, we will be adding a prayer chain to our Discord. If anyone wants others to think of them, pray for a sick loved one, or even wish a happy birthday, there will be a place for all of us to see. And then he says number one. So that's exciting. Talk about giver's gain. That's innovation at its best. You know, put things that absolutely that matter. You know, everybody's praying. Let's get on the same page. God says that one of us can put down 1,000, but two of us can put down 10,000. He says, when any two of you come together, there also I will be. So that is really, really good news. Really cool to hear that. Fun to see. BC Port Corp, welcome to the family. I see that you are a new member. I appreciate that. So really, really, really cool. And Vegas Claw, I see you over there. I mean, we obviously have to talk to Crypto Billy. I mean, I would give you a wrench, but I'm just afraid you would put yourself in a timeout. I mean, we know how that goes. You're just that type of guy, right? So let me see. Oh, I did want to go over with you guys what was shipped on Patreon this week. That way you can keep up. You see here. So if you see there, maybe I can just do it like this. Is easier. Yeah, that's better. Yep. So on the Clarity Act, we did ship the brief. We shipped the deep dive. That is the sources so that you guys can follow along. There is an explainer video that was shipped, the debate, the critique, and then we did the YouTube live. But you can see here, this is the critique. And this is when they take our source and they just tell us what could be better about it. This is the debate where they go back and forth about the good and the bad points. This is the explainer video, as you see here. Yeah, maybe it's just lower on this point. Yeah. And then the deep dive, the sources again, that's from last week.
Now, we're a decentralized autonomous organization that actually pays for its own development.
That's what the
Okay, so how does Dash actually pull all this off?
So
Well, the secret sauce.
that back there, and that is there. We do still have, I think, 80 something free memberships available on the family plan level. And today, which we haven't been able to do before, I think I'm going to be able to drop into there the link from the deep dive, and that should allow anybody in the family tier of our Patreon to go back in here and interact with it yourself. So you can push, you can interact with the whole notebook, right? So we have the whole notebook here, all of these assets, and you can come back over here and interact with it. So the way that you'll do it is you'll come over here and go to interactive mode. You'll bring it up, and then you can just push play, and then you can ask questions yourself. So I'm hoping to put that into the family tier today on Patreon. Hopefully that it works. I've never done it before, but supposedly I can share the notebook with you guys, and you can actually interact with it yourself if that's what you so choose to do. So I definitely appreciate you guys being here, and I know it is Saturday morning, and I know on Saturday morning everybody wants to get up. They want to do a little something. They just think to themselves, man, Dave, maybe we should be dancing this morning. So if you're a little bit older, stretch it out. Take your hat, put it on backwards, and get ready.
It's time to open the club. It's time to open
baby. Get up, get up. Let's go, K-Diggs. Jesse, I know you're driving. Don't be dancing while you're driving, Jeff. Alexander G, I can see you. I can see you in that picture dancing it up. Oh. You're like, what are you doing, AG Boy? You're dancing. Open the club. Alright guys, thanks for tuning in this morning. We appreciate you every week. See you on Sunday. See you tomorrow for the Billy Goat Tales live show. See you on Tuesday for our X Page. See you throughout the week as we drop the store. We drop the motivational mindset. We love you guys. Thank you very much for coming. And I will see you on this show again next week on Saturday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, we love you, fam.
In simple terms, we break it down. Complex stuff, we make it sound clear and easy for you and me. Billy Goat Tales and Dave Digital bring knowledge we share. In simple terms, we're everywhere. We love you, fam. Hashtag givers gain.